Okay, so if you've ever walked down a health food aisle, you've definitely seen it. Manuka honey. It's just sitting there on the shelf looking like liquid gold. And, it often has a price tag that makes you do a double take. But what is the deal with this stuff? Let's dive in and figure it out.
Right? It's the question we all ask ourselves. We kind of know it's from New Zealand, and we've heard it has these unique properties, but the labels, they're covered in all these codes and numbers and acronyms that are, let's be honest, seriously confusing. Well, today, we're going to crack that code. And boom, right out of the gate, we hit the core of the problem. Just let that sink in for a second. More is sold than is actually made. This demand has created a huge, and I mean huge, market for fakes, which makes it incredibly tough to know if you're buying the real thing. Yep, that's what it's called, food fraud, and it's a massive issue. One investigation found that almost half of honey imports they looked at were suspicious. A lot of these fake Manuka products are really just regular honey, or worse, blended with cheap sugar syrups. So how in the world do you find the genuine article? Well, thankfully, New Zealand itself decided it was time to bring some serious clarity to the chaos. To protect their most famous export, the government actually created an official, science-backed definition of what real Manuka honey is. So this is the Ministry for Primary Industries, or MPI. The easiest way to think of them is as the official referee in the Manuka game. Any honey that's labeled as Manuka and shipped out of New Zealand has to meet their super strict scientific rules. This is our foundation for authenticity. And the MPI standard is a really big deal. It means for the very first time, there's a single government-enforced benchmark for what can and, just as importantly, cannot be called Manuka honey. So let's unpack what that standard is actually looking for. Okay, so the first major distinction the MPI makes is between two main types of Manuka honey, monofloral and multifloral. And trust me, this is a really crucial difference that affects everything from the taste to the potency of the honey. It's actually pretty simple when you break it down. Monofloral means the bees were pretty much exclusively feasting on Manuka blossoms. You can think of it as the purest expression of Manuka. Multifloral, on the other hand, means the bees collected nectar from Manuka flowers, but also from other plants nearby, creating a natural blend. So, how does the MPI even make that call? Well, it's not a taste test, that's for sure. It's a super rigorous, 5-part scientific analysis. They test for 4 very specific chemical markers that are totally unique to Manuka nectar, and then they double-check by confirming the presence of Manuka pollen through a DNA test. It's pretty high-tech stuff. This table breaks it all down perfectly. Just look at that first row, the MPI test. Now, while both types have to pass, to get that monofloral certification, the honey needs to show much, much higher levels of those key chemical markers. And as you can see, that leads to a more consistent taste and, this is the important part, a much higher potential potency. Okay, so we know the difference between mono and multi. Great. But then you look at the jar and you see this other set of codes, MGO and UMF-TM. This is, without a doubt, the biggest source of confusion for shoppers. You see it all the time. MGO 263+, UMF 10+. So what's the difference? Are they the same thing? Is one of them better? Let's clear this up right here, right now. They are 2 completely different systems for measuring what's actually inside that jar of honey. So here's the most important thing to remember. MGO is a simple, direct measurement of just one compound, Methylglyoxal. That's the stuff responsible for Manuka's famous antibacterial properties. UMF, which stands for Unique Manuka Factor, is more like a total report card. It's a comprehensive grading system that measures MGO, but also includes other tests for purity and authenticity. And this is exactly why UMF-10 is considered a total quality score. It looks way beyond just the potency. It tests for MGO, of course, but it also tests for leptospermum to prove it's genuine Manuka, DHA to make sure it'll stay potent on your shelf, and HMF to check that the honey is raw and hasn't been damaged by heat. It's basically an all-in-one guarantee of authenticity and quality. Now for the really practical part. Since brands use both systems, how do you compare them? This conversion table is going to be your new best friend. So a UMF 10+, for example, is guaranteed to have at least 263 milligrams per kilogram of MGO. This chart lets you compare jars side by side no matter which rating system they use. It's like a translation guide. So what do all these numbers actually mean for you? Well, the simple takeaway is this. Higher numbers equal higher potency. A lower grade, like a UMF 5 plus or an MGO 83 plus, is absolutely perfect for daily wellness, for putting in your tea or on your toast. The higher grades, like a UMF 15 plus or 20 plus, they have much higher concentrations of MGO and are typically used for more specific, targeted health reasons. All right, we have covered a lot of ground: the science, the types, the rating systems. So let's put it all together into a super simple checklist that you can actually use the next time you're shopping. So now that you're practically an expert, let's get right to it. Here are the 3 simple things you need to look for on any jar to know you're getting the good stuff. Here it is, your 3-point authenticity check. First, it must say Product of New Zealand. Non-negotiable. Second, check that it was also packed in New Zealand. This is so important because it prevents anyone from messing with it or blending it after it leaves the country. And third, make sure the rating, whether it's MGO or UMF-Tem, is backed up by independent lab tests. Good, reputable brands will always make this info super easy to find. And hey, one last pro tip that might actually surprise you. Don't be put off by a plastic jar. Because genuine Manuka is packed in New Zealand, a lot of brands use lightweight, shatterproof, BPA-free recycled plastic. It just makes shipping safer and cheaper. A fancy glass jar might actually be a sign that it was repacked somewhere else. So there you have it. You are now officially equipped to walk down that aisle and navigate the world of Manuka honey with total confidence. From the MPI standard to the rating systems, you can finally read that label and know exactly what you're getting. The only question left is, which one are you going to choose?